Shalom Aleichem, Rabbi say it's Geschmack to come back to our Thursday night gathering to learn the parasha together. So there are three topics on my mind. Be'ez Hashem, we'll try to get to all three. At least we'll be zeicha 2 out of 3. The first topic I'll get to is because emotionally that's where I am. We'll talk about that fast. But that's where I most am, so I want to, if I don't say it, I'm thinking about it anyway, so I might as well share where I am with the Chevra. I spoke to one of our Chevra and he told me the same. He told me he's been on the phone with his son's counselor, the division head, and his son is going, first-time camper, and he's going through some bouts of homesick. So I'm in a similar place. I dropped my child this week for the first time in camp. And my wife and I find ourselves, it's this child's first time going to camp, and my wife and I find ourselves asking, I hope the child's okay, I wonder what's going on. The rule of the camp, smartly, Mistama, is that till Erev Shabbos Kodesh, no contact. It's probably very smart. So we're waiting for that first. What time Erev Shabbos? Is it 1? Is it 3? We don't know exactly. But we're waiting our child. We dropped off our child in this camp. L'maisa, we dropped off the child was very emotional, as were we. And one of the chevra here, his children, is older, is already a veteran there, came, one of the chevra right here, Rav Aaron's a child, came and was very much mekar of my child, and made my child at ease. My wife got in touch with the mishpacha. We were very, very much mechuzik. To leave a child somewhere, you're worried. We're worried about the kid, that things are comfortable and geschmack. You're worried about your kid. And you're not in a position to be there to do for your kid. Many of us are sending children to Eretz Yisrael. Reb David sends off his son 5,000 miles away, and you feel rather helpless. You're hoping, I hope it's going geschmack, a new yeshiva, the near yeshiva, you're hoping, and it's very overwhelming. And the feeling you have to somebody who's good to your kid is wild. Because you're nervous and anxious and want good for your child, and you feel you need assistance, and you have remarkable feeling to somebody who's good to your kid. You're like, that cousin, Reb David and I speak about his cousin who hosted. It's a good feeling. It's a remarkable feeling. You're nervous about your kid. You're worried how they're doing. And somebody is taking in your child. You have a very, very good feeling. And it's Dvarim Pshutim, that this is how the Rebbeinu Shalom feels about us with other Yidden. He sends his children here, and the feelings that Hashem has an ava to somebody who's good to his children. It's Pashut, this is what it is. He drops off his children, and has a tremendous appreciation. Kipshutai mamish. He made a world that we relate and interact with each other, and he leaves it up to us to interact with others, and he has a tremendous avatz, pashut, that he has an overwhelming love for he who's good to his children. And this is a sugya on my mind now, and it's this week's parasha. It's so many parashas. Avas Hager. Pulling in the outsider. It's repeated, it's a theme in the Torah. Taisus and Kedushin says 36 times in the Torah, Avas Hager, pull in the outsider. If you're comfortable somewhere, well, you all have the places that are our shul, our community, pull in the outside guy. Make the outsider comfortable also, pull him in. Pull the outsider, Avas Hager. So I want to take that, I'm holding in the sugya now. So it has to be something on our minds. Klur, mamish klur, that the Rebbeinu Shalom feels like the parent who sends their kids to the Holy Land and is just hoping people are good and has a tremendous hakaras hatoiv, tremendous gratitude to he who takes in his child. That's how Hashem feels when we're good to Yidden. So let's be mechazik Abbas Hager, pull in the outsider. You're comfortable somewhere, pull in. Many of us are about to begin Zmanim. So I'm a little amazed people aren't more careful with this. We're about to begin a Zman. You're in a yeshiva a little bit already. If you're there one Zman, somebody's newer than you. If you're there 2, 3 Zmanim, the beginning of the Zman has to be to make the new guy comfortable. I can't picture a world that the guy's, he's busy, it's his Zman. Yeah, but you're a vet there. There's a guy that's new there. Make him comfortable. That's got to be the Ascholas Hazman for all the Siyata D'Shmaya of our learning, of our steiging. Step 1 is there's somebody who's new there. Did you settle him in? You settle that person, and okay, then you begin. That's obvious. My visual of that is 2 Chaverim. This is Pashut. 2 Chaverim are getting together. 2 old friends are getting together. Yehuda and David, in years now, you begin coming together. So David comes to you, ask for Shabbos. You have your beautiful family, your wife and children. He comes with his wife and kids. So the guy comes, you haven't seen each other in 20 years. Only a very shallow person, the 2 friends start schmoozing. Both families are sitting there all awkward, like uncomfortable. They don't know that the wives don't know each other, the kids don't know each other. How self-absorbed and shallow and silly if the 2 friends are like schmoozing for like 2 hours and the kids and the wife are walking around like don't know where to put themselves. You're lost. You don't get anything. The obvious, deep people, understanding people, is the way they greet each other is they both know they're tight for 25 years. So they both make the kids comfortable. They go to the other person's kids and relax and settle in the kids. That's how they greet the Chaver Pashut, by settling in the children, making them relaxed, comfortable, geschmack. After the kids are all playing and comfortable and at home, the 2 friends renew the friendship that of course is there. The Bachar who begins his man talking to Hashem, he's none with Hashem, and he didn't settle in the new guys in his yeshiva. He's clueless, Lenny Estate. He's clueless. He doesn't know anything about relationships, friendships. Hashem's children, Hashem came with his kids, this man. You're right away bringing with your old buddy. No, he has kids who aren't yet comfortable. The obvious thing when the father comes with his kids is get the kids comfortable, get them relaxed, get them settled, and besides that, then you renew your friendship. That's how you get going with your friend. If the guy ignores your kids, what for a friend is he already? He's ignoring your kids and he's talking to you. You find it kind of weird. He's like schmoozing with you and your kids, and you're like, I have kids now and children now. I have children, please settle in my kids. So let's settle in the Rebbeinu Shalom. Any matzav that we're in, we have a comfort avas hager. It's something, if some of us ourselves, this is burning on our minds, that our children should be comfortable and welcomed in and settled nicely. Avas hager, the new one. So if we're thinking about it, so let's be mechazik. It's time to get parsha. Akev speaks about avas hager, so let's be mechazik in our own lives. In all the circumstance of our life, where we're the veteran, where we're comfortable, make the next person, make the next yid. Avas hager, make him comfortable. So that was the first topic I wanted. That's a little burning on my mind. I want to learn a Gemara in Brachas and share something with the Chevra. It's a Gemara we've studied in the past, but Ein Beis Medrash B'li Chiddush. Something occurred to me in this Gemara, a new understanding, a new Havan in the Gemara that I want to share with my friends. I want to share a much deeper understanding of the Gemara. I want to share with everybody here. I want to admit the thought is in middle. I'm working on something, but already I want to share what I'm in middle of with the Chevra. In this week's parsha is the mitzvah d'oraisa of benching. V'achalta v'savata v'eirachta. Eat, savata, be satisfied, v'eirachta, and thank Hashem. In my family, the word satisfied, the Yank was always is a funny word, satiated, the savata, we like that word. As a youngster, if we told my mother we were full, she didn't like that. My mama didn't like when we said we were full. She said, cows get full, human being gets satisfied. So v'savata was a word that we like v'savata, svia, I'm satiated. I'm savata, I'm satisfied. So v'chalta v'savata. Comes the Gemara in Brachas Chaf from the base, and the Gemara says as follows: Darish Rav Avira. Sometimes he said the name Rav Ami, sometimes the name Rav Asi. He said as follows: Amru Malchei Asher Sifnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The angel said to Hashem, Rebbeinu Shloim, Kasav b'Torascha, it says in your Torah, Asher lo yisapanim v'lo yikach shoichad. A dayan is not let us show favoritism. Is not let it be nice upon him. A judge does not let us show favoritism. He has to look at both litigants, equal eyes, and not favor one over the other. Fret the angels to God. You show favoritism to Klal Yisrael. The Birchas Kehanim that you mitzaveh the Kehanim to bench Yidden is Yisa Hashem Panav. Hashem should be noisei Panim. The Kehanim, the priests, bless us that Hashem should show favoritism. But I thought you're against that. I thought you were against favoritism. Amr Lahem answers Hashem, V'chi yaseh Panim liYisrael. You don't want me to show favoritism to Klal Yisrael. Shekasabti lem b'Torah. I wrote in the Torah, V'achalta v'savato v'erachta, Hashem lekecha. Eat, be satisfied, and bench Hashem. So be'emes midaraisa, you're only mechuyev to bench if you eat a kedei svia, if you have a ganze soda. V'heimidaktam alatzman ad kazayis v'ad kebeya. And they're makbid to bench either a kazayis or a kebeya. Machlokes of Yehuda and Reb Meir. They're makbid, they bench other kazayas, other kebeya. Either kazayas or kebeya. So I showed them favoritism. Now, I don't want, this is not the prat I'm talking about. In this Gemara, what was the answer? The Malchei Ashari say a dayan's not let us show favoritism. And they say, Hashem, you show favoritism. You say Hashem Pan. And Hashem answers that Klal Yisrael is different. I'm not say Panim to them because of something they do. Which, the Pshat, I heard this from Rav Elia Brudny, that Klal Yisrael shows me Nesias Panim. Klal Yisrael is very into me. They're nice say Panim to me. If they show me favoritism, so I'm allowed to show favoritism back. It's interesting, even though it says La Yisa, it says not to be nice say Panim. To Klal Yisrael shows me Nesias Panim. Now, what is this that we show Hashem? So I always learned the sugya, and certainly there's a sugya here of gratitude. What area is Klal Yisrael so nice upon him that we have gratitude? Officially, we're only supposed to bench when we eat kedei svia, satisfied. We bench when we just have a kazayas or a kebeya. So we show gratitude unless then Hashem was mitzvah. That level gratitude, we're like so into Hashem. We're so into Hashem. That's the Nesias Panim that we have to Hashem. And Oibazoi, he's nice Panim back to us. This year I was learning this Gemara, and I was learning these Psukim, and I have a different understanding that I want to share with the Chevra of the Nesias Panim that's going on here. We're so into Hashem, and He's so into us, and Oibazai, there's an excuse that even though Hashem's normal Shalayisa Panim doesn't show favoritism, but we get a special Nesias Panim. Hashem's into us, Yisa Hashem Panim Eilecha. There's a Nesias Panim because we bench on less. And I want to explain, I want to share what I think about this, we bench on less. What is this? What is this about us, we bench on less? It says, V'achalta v'savata, kedei svia. Eat us, be satiated and bench. Comes the Gemara, and it says, we bench on less. So I want to share this Chassidish Svarim. I find a lot. Things that are written in Chassidish Svarim are geboit on Pshat, are built on Pshat. There's Pshatim in this pasuk. Maybe we'll share, maybe we won't. But I want to talk about an idea that I think is contained here. What is this? I want to get sophisticated. What is going on, Yitzchak Shalom? I want to think about it more. What happened? You're supposed to bench when you eat a lot, and we bench when we eat less. Like, what is this? You're supposed to bench when you're fully satisfied. You eat a certain level Suda. And comes Klal Yisrael, they bench on less. What is that? That's what I want. What's that sugya that we bench on less? What's happening? So I'm going to share a gra. There are many things to share in it, and then I want to nail the Nakuda. I want to say the Nakuda, what I think, to the Chevra. I'm going to start with the gra. The gra says famously, the gra is bothered, it's always a Yishmaka gra, it's a famous gra. The gra is bothered by it says, we're makbid for kizayis or kibeya is written wrong, it's written backwards. It should say a kibeya or kizayis. You say loizu afsi, you're bigger Kalish. We bench on a kibeya. A beya's double is bigger than a kizayis. We bench on a kibeya, and even a kizayis we bench. It says kizayis or kibeya, it's backwards. The Gra pointed this out. The Gra famously makes a cheshbon. The Gra says that a person eats 2 meals a day. He figures out that 2 sudas is 6 kibayim. Is 6 kibayim, he figures out, the Gra. He figures out that 1 suda, 6 kibayim and 20 kizesim is 2 sudas. He makes a cheshbon. 1 suda is 3 bayim and 10 zesim. So the Gra figures out that 1 suda, a meal, is 3 kibayim and 10 kizesim, which is the same thing. 3 kibayim, 10 kizesim is a suda. That's what a suda, that's how much a human being, an average suda is 3 kibayim, which is 10 kizesim. That's an average suda. Comes the Gra and he says that what it means that we're makbid ad kizayis vad kibay, we bench, says the Gra, is remember a normal suda is 10 kizesim. So a yid sits down and he has 10 kizesim for a suda. But the yid wants to say, he wants to bench with a zimun, the best zimun. He wants to say nevarach Elokeinu. So he does, he eats a kizayis. He shares his 10 kizesim with 10 people. So now he makes a zim and he ends up benching only on a kizayis. His suda had 10 kizesim. But he wants to l'chatchila do the best zimun of Elokeinu. So he ends up only having a kizayis, shucks. And he eats his suda with 9 other yidden. That's ad kizayis. Ad kibeya, says the Gra, is that even if he can't get 10, the very minimum zimun is 3. So a suda is 3 bayim. If you have 3 friends, so you each get 1 bayim. So that's ad kizayis, ad kibeya. The yid, in order to get zimun, will share his suda with 9 other people. The male is benching only a kizayis. If he can't have 10, he at least shares it with 3 other people. Thus, his 3 bayim have 1 bayim. That's the Gra. We read this Gemara. What just happened? What just went on? The Yid, in order to thank Hashem, he shares his Suda. What's going on in Pshat? What's happening here? What's going on? The Yid so badly wants to thank Hashem, he wants to make a whole zimun, so he gets 10 other people. That's what it means. He benches for Kazayas. And Kibeya is the Pshat that he shares it with 3. What's what I want to tell you in Pshat. So somebody would hear this and this sounds like Hasidic Torah. La'alocha, you're supposed to bench satisfied. We're makbid, we bench in the Kazayas or Kibeya. What's Kazayas or Kibeya? Because you have 10 Kazayas a meal. We share it with 9 other people because we want to make the Zimun. Shtickle Torah. I want to explain it to the Chevra, something we've spoken about, we have to talk about. I'm thinking a lot about it. I just came off of camp, Rabbi say. And camp, geschmack, so you make barbecues. A camp, so you have ATVs, geschmack, all the geschmack stuff. I want to say to the Chevra simply, you can have all the cute toys in the world. You can go on vacation, you have this and you have that. If your matara, if your focus is kirvas Hashem, if your focus is kirvas Hashem, then all the cute toys, the steak, it's geschmack, whatever it is, a little more, a little less, a little cuter, a little worse. If your focus, your matara, is kirvas Hashem, I speak about it in terms. We have a basketball team, yeah? We have a basketball yeshiva. We're about to start the school year. In the school year is a basketball team. Does the basketball season ever end successful for anybody? So let's go. All the teams start out full of optimism. Many teams feel they might win. This could be the year. Now, Lemaisa, only one team wins. So everybody else is a failure. Now, the team that won, not everybody's the MVP, so every guy you thought this is going to be his big year. And then for the MVP, the best player in the league who waited for this, he waited for Yoren. Does it ever turn out as Geschmack? So now you won. Mazel tov, Gesundheit, Shalom Aleichem. As was now, so now you won. You're the winner. Yay! Now, if his matara, if the purpose are meaningful purposes, if his purpose is to grow as a person, he needs outlets and breaks, ishmak, so then it's value. Then it has tremendous value. I like reading in the Mike Tress book, you read about a home run he once hit. And it's not awkward. It must be awkward. The man's nifter, he's in Olam Haba. What are they writing about a home run? They should write it on his tombstone, the home run he hit. It was one, Shiva B'Tammuz. Don't tell anybody, they were playing baseball. The kids weren't so frum, they were being mekarev them, he was fasting, and he smacked a home run. There are people frum today because of his home run. He was being mekarev, there are people frum today because of his home run. He was orangutan with the chevra, the home run wasn't the point. So then the home run's eternal. We have years, there was a bacher in yeshiva, we didn't pedafka connect. There's another guy, I want to connect him, we didn't pedafka connect. One volleyball tournament, we were on the same team, we became best friends. I promise you his kids are going to be frummer because of that volleyball game. We connected beautifully. I don't know what happened. We were on the same team. He made a very good shot. I remember, my warped mind remembers where he hit it. He like jumped and smacked the ball. And we just like hit it off the schmack. We've learned more Torah since then. We've bonded. We hit it off, geschmack. So then it's not about a volleyball game. The volleyball game's garnished. It's about becoming frummer. It's about growing, about steiging. The aside of the Gemara, it's clear by me that there's a word here, v'chalta v'savata v'erachta. And then the Gra speaks about sharing your food. Whether the inyan is the chesed to share with other people, whether the inyan is you want the zimun, whatever your kavan is. But at the point that your word is not the suda, so there's a different definition of the savata. To the one who's coming to eat, Hashem says, I give a chiyuv chalta b'savata. What your sviyah is depends what you're doing. If you're coming to eat, so you know with savata, you have to go to a food expert. Savata is a guy that's pashut mamish what's saying over here. I told them, v'chalta v'savata v'erachta. You eat and bench, say them, be savata and bench. If you're a guy, you're a foodie, you're a professional foodie. By the way, I don't know if you'll ever have a savata, beseder, but you'll have to look up in some magazine what says savata, beseder, and then there's 3 kibbutz and there's shiurim for sudas. But Klal Yisrael's noisei panim, we're into Hashem. What we're about is about benching. We're about making a nice suda for the chevra. So we take our 3 beitzim and we share it with 2 other guys. We each have a beya and then we bench like that. We share it with 10 others. That's the pshat over here. The nice panim of Klal Yisrael that I said v'chalta v'savata v'erachta, and they bench on less. There's a sugya of misbarach b'ma'ayim. If you look in Parshas, in the Parsha, it's interesting, in Ekev, where it speaks about a person who's Shamaya Tishmo Mitzvaysei. So it says, I'll give mitar artzchem be'itai, and then it says, Rashi speaks about this very fascinating thing, that you'll eat a little and be satisfied. It's misvarech b'ma'ayim. In your stomach, what is that? There's a word that when you live with Hashem, That when you're matara, then less is more. That's not what you're about. You eat a little less, you're also satisfied. It's not what you're about. When you're about it, there's one sugya, when that's what you're chasing and that's what you're about. And when you're not about it, the sviyah changes. And this is the pirush that Hashem says of V'chilo yaseh panim liyisrael. Am I not going to be nice upon him to a people that are just about me? I tell them, you eat and bench. So the Seder guy can geschmack, I ate and bench. But the one who's into Hashem, the one who takes his 10 kezesim and divides it into 9 other parts, because he wants to feed others, he likes his food, it's geschmack, and he appreciates how good the food is. But he wants to share. He's about other people. He wants to share. He enjoys the food. The food's geschmack, but he wants to share. He wants to be mevarach Hashem. He's about being mevarach Hashem. So he wants a zimun of 10. So his whole v'savata changes. Such a guy, the medachim alatzman, kibeya, kazayas, they're about me. Their matar is about me. Such a people that's about me. Yisa Hashem panav, I'm about them. Such a people, I'm about them. So I wanted to share this. This to me is klar. I saw Chassidish Sfarim from, they say from the Regina, they say, I don't even know how he fits into the words. V'achalta v'savata v'erachta. V'achalta you'll eat, v'savata v'erachta. Like somehow he says the Sviyah is the bracha. He says, they say shtickluch Torah in the words. I'm not coming to share the exact Torah that's said here. What I'm coming to say is klar. What's being said here, that medaktikim, that they have a different havana of the savata. When a person changes what they're about, the savata becomes different. The satisfaction changes. What would be when somebody's doing it as a goal for itself? So the Sevilla has certain rules. You have to call up foodies to find out what the Sevilla. And you're never satisfied, by the way. But Klal Yisrael was makbid different. We live different. We're noisei panim l'Hashem. We're about Hashem. We're about ruchnius. We're about service. Beside this, we like a good game. It's like geschmack. It's geschmack the good game when you're about Hashem. Then beside it, we need a good game to get chiyus, to get energy, to feel geschmack, to have yishva das. The game is different. The game is different. The Svi is them avada, the Svi. That's noisei panim l'Hashem. That's a people that are about Hashem. We're about Hashem. So Hashem says, "V'chilo yaseh panim liyisrael." I shouldn't be noisei panim liyisrael. So I felt in the bein azmanim. We're doing different vacations, different zachen. But when we keep our eye on the matara, on the purpose, on what our focus, the Sviyah, the line of Sviyah, there is such a thing called Sviyah, and the line, it's Kazayas Kabeya. Kazayas goes a long way in such a world, because you have 9 other people you also want to share Kazayas, because you care about others, and you also want to get Olikenu. So you have 9 other people now. So I wanted to share this Gra and this Havana in this Gemara Brachas. That was the second point I wanted to make. We have a little more time. We'll get to the third Indian that I want to share with the Chevra. Moshe Rabbeinu tells Klal Yisrael, "Vayomer Hashem Elai." In Parashas Eikev, Moshe tells Klal Yisrael, "Hashem told me, kum reid maher mizeh, quickly come down from the Har Sinai. Maher, rush, get down from Har Sinai. Ki shiches amcha, for your nation has corrupted. Sheretzeis mi Mitzrayim. Saru maher min haderech shetzivisem asu lemasecha." They've done an egel. Quickly. Raid Maher, he said. Quickly run down, the Yid need you. They've done an egel. Later on, it says in the next pasuk, "V'yomer Hashem Elai leimar, re'isi ha'am hazeh, v'nei am kshei arifu." I see Klal Yisrael and they have a stubbornness. They're kshei arif. The Sifornu explains that the kshei arif is an unwillingness to change, to bend. Kshei arif. It's interesting. They made an egel. it would seem the chet is an egel. But the next pasuk says that the ikr shayrish of chet was stubbornness. Kshe'arif was a stubbornness. So I want to share, there's a pasuk in Tehillim, the pasuk in Mishlei that I want to learn with the Chevra, and to speak about this Nakuda of stubbornness. I'm thinking it's interesting, I'm sending off another son, my son Michael, in a few minutes going off to learn Eretz Yisrael. And I want to speak about a specific, the topic I'm parting from many people I'm close to. I'm going off, we're sending off a whole Chevra of Rav Yankov sending his son Aaron to Eretz Yisrael, and we're sending a lot of us, Rav David sending his son back, we're sending our children off to learn Torah, Hashem's Torah. This nekuda gives me chizuk. When somebody embarks on the journey of life, goes off to Eretz Yisrael to learn Torah, it is this nekuda that gives chizuk when we embark on the journey called life. It's this nekuda. All of us face challenges. It's an oilum anisayin. All of us stumble sometimes. Ein tzaddik ba'aretz asher yaseh tov v'lo yechta. We all make mistakes. What guarantees, what the most helpful thing for somebody to be successful is the willingness to be called out, and the willingness, when you make a mistake, somebody said you make a mistake and you say I'm wrong, and you chayzer from it. Kshe'arif is very dangerous. Stubborn. When somebody's not willing to admit wrongdoing. Nope. Stubbornness is very dangerous. Extremely dangerous when a person has an unwillingness to change, to admit, to bend. That's extremely, extremely dangerous. And with all the chaymer of the chet of the egel, what angers Hashem, and what Hashem says I'm most concerned is I see an aspect of Kshe'arif in Klal Yisrael, an unwillingness to bend and change. That I'm very concerned, to the point that Hashem says, Emcha Shmam, Mitachas Shmayim. Maybe Ad Kedei Kliya. The chet of the egel is not the nekuda that arouses Hashem's concern, that says this is dangerous stuff, Moshe. What gets Hashem to say dangerous, worse than the chet of egel, which is a tremendously chomer chet. Ad she'amelech b'mesiba inerdi nas nareich, a tremendously chomer chet. But worse than the chet, the mistake, people make mistakes. What I'm concerned is I detect kshe'arif, stubbornness. I have a chizuk. Chevra is going to learn that they love Musar, that they're willing to be told, you excuse me, you're wrong. I'm very confident in such a person. When a bacher goes off, I want a lot. There's a chazal say that a chaver is not moitzi mitachas yadei davar she'eino mesukim. A chaver doesn't let fruits out of his hands that trumas and maises weren't taken off. Yehuda, I am driven. A yeshiva has to act like a chaver. A parent, we have to try to be chaverim. Chaverim are talmidei chachamim. Talmidei chachamim don't let a fruit, don't let a vegetable, a tomato leave their hands that Trumas and Mice are not taken off. You walk into a Talmud Chacham's house, you can eat the tomatoes. Because he wouldn't let a tomato sit there on the counter if it was dangerous. He's not Maitzi Mitachas Yadoi Davar She'eino Mesukim. A yeshiva can't let somebody leave who's not ready for the world, who's not Mesukim. A chaver is not Maitzi Mitachas Yadoi Davar She'eino Mesukim. So what's Mesukim? When the person's perfect? We're all a work in progress. To me, what gives me confidence is if somebody's willing to accept rebuke. That anybody, a Rebbe, can walk up and say, I'm Sholdik. I say, you're right. The person has a willingness to accept rebuke, can be told off. And all our lives set ourselves up that somebody could tell us off. Make sure you have somebody who could tell you off. Make sure. I told the Bachar on parting, Mamish had 3 messages. One of the 3 things I want them to know, where you are. I don't want to hear you have a Rebbe who's 5,000 miles away. I don't want you to hear you have a Rebbe who's dead. A live Rebbe where you are. You can say, I'm Sholdik, you're wrong. I say, I'm wrong. There's a confidence in a person who's not sheriff, who's not stubborn, who's willing to be wrong. I'm talking wrong. There's a tremendous confidence. You're willing to be wrong, and you're willing to appoint somebody to tell you you're wrong. There's a confidence. We all make mistakes throughout life. But there's somebody in your life, present, where you are, who could say you're wrong. Say, I'm wrong. Say, Chayzer. That's a lot of confidence. You're not stuck. You're not locked in. A lot of things in life, a lot of temptation. But you can be told you're wrong. It's confidence. The pasuk in Mishlei is Perach of Tes Pasuk Aleph. It says, Ish Teichachos. There's different pshatim. There's a gra. We're going to say the pshat. I'm quoting now from Rabbi Yerucham. From Rabbi Yerucham Levavitz, I want to read a little piece to the Chevra from Rabbi Yerucham Levavitz. Ish Teichachos. A man who needs musar, who's done something wrong, mak sha'irif, but he's stubborn. He doesn't want to accept that he's wrong. He's stubborn. He doesn't listen to anybody. Pesa yishaver. Suddenly he will be broken. Ve'ein marpe. There is no cure. He's in deep trouble, and it says it is sudden. His dangerous is profound. It can happen quickly. And Rabbi Yerucham says that the maher, Hashem said, Moshe, quick! What's this matter? Go down. I'm not just going to listen. Run. What's the run? The run wasn't, Rabbi Yerucham says, the running wasn't because of how bad the ego was. The running was, there's a shayrish of ksheirif. There's a stubbornness here. There's a danger in Klal Yisrael. I detect the mid of stubbornness. I detect stubbornness and unwilling to bend. Hashem says, run, maher, run. Because it says here, Pesa, very suddenly, Yeshaver. The danger is very, very, very quick, the danger is very, very powerful. When a person is a kshayarif, take a person and he's willing to bend and listen, so then he's a safe person. He might make mistakes along the way, but he'll admit him. Somebody will tell him off. We all make mistakes. We all lose our way. We all make a wrong turn. But beseder, somebody will tell him off and he'll get back on. But his kshayarif is danger. He speaks, Rabbi Yerucham speaks, here he says over the Rav, the Bar Tanura, that Yeshua said that the derech toiv, sheyadabek ba'adam is a chaver toiv. And he brings from the Rav, from the Rish and the Rav, that kadeshia yichenu al davar sheina hagan. A chaver toiv is somebody to give him musar for something that's not right. And he says if Rabbi Yeshua needed a chaver to give him musar, certainly yes. A chaver toiv means, and this is the derech toiv, shidabad, that you have a chaver who could tell you off. You have a friend who says knock it off. And that's what it means, a chaver toiv, and that's what every person needs, Rabbi Yeshua says. A chaver toiv who could tell a person, you're wrong. Rabbi Yerucham is ma'irich on this inyan that kol echad ve'echad is saruch l'toichacha, and avas ha'toichacha is the only eitzah that a person can avoid traps in their life, is that they love musar, that they embrace and engage and have somebody. Could be our spouse, that the spouse, instead of getting all mad, the spouse knock it off. What do you think I have? What do you think you have a chaver, such a chaver for? To be able to be told off. To be able to be told off. It's a good zach. You have a chaver toiv. You could be able to be told off. It's important. It's very important. To love musar and to create a chaver that gives us musar. If a person allows somebody, could be a wife, could be a good friend, and you allow somebody to tell you off, to rebuke you, so then you're a safe person. You have somebody who could tell you off, tell you stop it. A person sets themselves up that nobody gives them musar. They're unwilling, they're maksha'irif, they're stubborn. No, nobody tells me off. Tremendous sakana. That sakana's, this pasuk, this scary pasuk, maksha'irif, pesi yishaver, they're going to break suddenly. Their danger is very imminent. Ve'ein marpen, there's no cure for that. Because there are always mistakes, but nobody tells me off. And all of us have to set up ourselves not to be ksheirif. Ksheirif is sakana atzuma. To be somebody who could hear musar, to love rebuke and to have the willingness to be told off. We yearn for Beis HaMikdash. We just got up from the 3 weeks. We just got off the floor. The Beis HaMikdash, you went there and you went to the kohen. You didn't just hand them the carbon. Don't be a child of Israel. You hand them a carbon and you run away. There was a whole conversation. The Kohen embraced you. He gave you a hug and a kiss. And then he schmoozed you about your chatan. You told him your wrongdoing. He gave you advice. He told you off. He gave you chesed. He focused you. There was a whole, the Beis HaMikdash was a place of tremendous growth, but it was a place of teichacha. A Kohen who was a big tzaddik, you engaged the Kohen, and he gave teichacha. He gave musar to the Kohen. People crave Beis HaMikdash, and then they yell at anybody who gives them musar. They get all upset. They set themselves up. Forget yelling. They set themselves. Nobody tells me off. Their wife says one line, a little criticism. They yell at her. So that when you're asking for Beis HaMikdash, you're asking that somebody can criticize you. So we have to have the willingness, avas hateichacha, to love musar, the willingness to be told off, the willingness to change. I have a tremendous confidence. To me, the davar HaMesukin that a bacher goes, that he's going to set himself up with somebody who could tell him off. And he's going to accept it. Please tell me off. Please. Remember Rav Yankov used to beg me. I always felt I'm not big enough to tell Rav Yankov off. He used to beg, give me musar. I want to be told off. Give me musar. Criticize. Criticize big people. Big people want musar. They want musar. You're doing them a taiva. Criticize me. Tell me off. Tell me to stop this. Tell me to do more of that. If a person's stubborn is in danger, and it's fascinating with the chaymer of Ched of the Egel that the Torah says, Hashem says, what was so chamer, we hear rebellion. They were Hashem says the danger is ksherif. I detect here there's a stubbornness. Get to them fast. Some shock therapy, break the luchos. There's a stubbornness here. There's an unwillingness to change. And there's a stubbornness I detect here that's dangerous. So this is something all of us in our travels, to make sure that we set ourselves up. We can accept rebuke. We want rebuke. We want to be told. We're not so stubborn. We're not so locked in. We push, we fight, but we're willing to hear if we make a mistake. We're willing, we have a want to be told off, to change directions. We were going one way and we're told off, we can go a different way. When you have that, it's the opposite. If there's Pesa Yeshava ve'ein marpe, the hefech is somebody who's oivas hateichacha will never break, and there's always a cure. The opposite, there's always a cure and will never break. So should be our lot, the lovers of musar, that taka never break and always have a cure.